fan favorite. I have to say a fan favorite, and I will actually say a Cat Crave and Ken Die favorite, Captain Munnerlyn.
Yep.
Captain Munnerlyn is kind of one of those hometown boys. And I don't know, I mean, I'm not saying he's from Charlotte. I don't know where he's from. But
South
what I mean,
Carolina, I think.
he is a South Carolina kid.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
He's
He
Gamecock.
is that young, he's the little guy that plays well and plays hard and
He's not
practices
that
well.
little.
He's 5'2".
All right, Uncle.
Okay, I mean, he might not be 5'2", but it looks like it. But
Well,
anyway,
he's 195. He's tough. I mean, he's solid.
yeah,
He's very
okay.
strong. So
So was
just
this kid
saying.
I played hockey with, and he was like 4'8", and he was awesome at hockey. But then they told him that he could never play past college.
Well, hey, the whole idea in football is to get under your opponent.
Okay,
There.
not when you're playing corner.
Well,
Okay,
yeah,
well,
Jam.
anyway, all right, all
I'll
right.
play cross
Look.
coverage.
He's clearly not 5'2". He's probably
He's 5'8".
he's 5'8". But you know, he's a hometown boy, and what I mean by that, he's a young, you know, he's the guy that is that when you look at him, when you do the combine numbers, when you do the height and the wingspan and the size of his hand and the size of his foot, is that he's not gonna, you know, have the numbers that wow you, that go, oh, this guy is going to grow into be this great athlete. Obviously, I mean, he's a little dude that plays corner. The fact is this: he's been with the Panthers for at least 4 years now. He's a free agent. He's going to be looking for a deal that's not a one and done type deal because he's given a lot to our organization. So we'll actually start this with Ken because Ken you've spoken to him before, right? Didn't you interview Captain
Yep,
Munnerlyn?
he sure did. One of the nicest people you would ever want to talk to, and I'm not saying that just to stay in good graces with him or anything. I had the pleasure of talking with him back last year around summer, a little bit before spring training or training camp. And we talked about his contract a little bit. He signed, I believe it was right at $1 million for a year, if memory serves it. And he said the reason that he did it that way was he was looking for a 3-year deal. The money wasn't quite there. He wanted to stay a Panther, so he took the 1-year deal, stuck it out. And I think he's probably, as long as they want to keep him, and I think they do. I think this is where he's going to get a little bit more money. Yeah, he's not going to be a $5 million man or anything, but he's been there, done that. He's towed the company line for a year because he likes the Panthers, wants to stay there. He's done his part. He took his hit last year. Now he's going to be looking for a little bit more money, and he deserves it because he waited.
We all love that storyline, and we do. Is that first of all, I love any Panther fan. I mean Panther that connects with the true fan, the people that follow them the most, like you do, Ken. You know what I'm saying? Is I don't really know many more people that are going to follow the Panthers and just be a true fan all the way through than someone like you. So we love that because that's what it is all about. In fact, that's one thing that our kind of brand has been about is by fans for fans, because without the fan, it is just a kid's game.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that kind of concept and that personalness of it. But the thing that I don't trust about this, and it's not from your report or from what Captain Munnerlyn, the feel is that this is a numbers and cents game at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And that concerns me is that the company line doing it for us last year, I don't know if that's going to get him exactly what he requires at this point in his career. Joey, do you think that we can work something out with him enough? Is it going to be length of time? Is it going to be the money itself? Can we get this deal done?
I I like Captain Munnerlyn. I want to go on record for that. I like his story. I mean, it's just a feel-good story, you know. Everybody knows that guy. That if you played sports, you know a guy who was a bit undersized but worked really, really hard. You know, constantly in the weight room, stayed late after practice, showed up early to practice, all that sort of stuff to try to get better. And it paid off for him.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
made
I
it to the
mean,
pros.
he has played in the NFL and played pretty
Well,
well.
he's played pretty well, yeah. But he's limited. Um, he has a difficult time matching up with an Alshon Jeffrey or a Brandon Marshall.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, well, you
Oh,
did
So does
just
the rest of
name
the
the
NFL, dude.
yeah, he did just name the two biggest receivers in
well,
the NFL.
or for that matter, he has a hard time matching up with Mike Wallace. You
Yes.
know, from Miami.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, he has a problem with that, and
Or
that's
hey, can I go on record? He also has a hard time matching up with Anquan Bolden.
amen.
And
And that's where we run into a problem. I would like to keep him. I think, like Ken said, he's looking. He took a 1-year deal this year with hopes of getting a longer term deal in the off season. And frankly, as much as I like him, I don't think we can do that. I think we need to spend the money in other places. And again, this is nothing personal against Captain Munnerlyn, like in no way. It's just I'm looking at it from a business personnel standpoint.
sure, we like him, and he plays better than he should for his size and for his ability and things like that. But at the same time, um, this is, and Joey said this repeatedly on this show, is that this is the next man up type league. Is what are you doing for me now, rather than what have you done for me in the past. And
Right.
he's just not going to be able to get by. This is the thing with players that are undersized and play above their ability, I guess you would say, is that they have a hard time sustaining late in their career because Steve Smith is he's the
Exception.
abnormality,
Yeah.
yeah, the exception to the rule, because
Yes.
once he loses the quarter of a step or half step, he shouldn't be a factor as much anymore. But someone that like Keyshawn Johnson or Musim Muhammad can transition just because of their stature. And
Right.
I think Mike Wallace won't be able to do this, is that he is fast and he is good, and he's not small necessarily, Mike Wallace, but he's not big.
No, and he doesn't play big. That's the
No.
No,
thing with him.
yeah, he's gonna try to just burn you.
Right. Right.
And what happens when he's not the fastest dude in the league anymore? Will he be able to squeak 3 more years out? And I think that that's what you're gonna look with. You're gonna find with Captain Munnerlyn. That's gonna, make the Panthers at least get them at this kind of cap crunch, and that was not a pun intended, but totally came out to be that. The cap crunch is that I gotta say I don't think he's gonna be a Panther, or if I say this, if he is a Panther, he's gonna be a little disappointed
Money
with
wise.
what we're gonna pay him.
Right.
With the tightness of the budget and some
Right.
stuff like
I
this.
I would have to say I think he probably could go get a better deal somewhere else for someone who has more cap space.
Yeah, and here's the thing is when we say better deal, we don't, it doesn't have to be. We like to think about this because we're thinking Greg Hardy, Greg Hardy, Greg Hardy, the $6 million you would lose if you took a hometown discount. But for him, it might be as a 500,000.
Right.
But that 500,000 is a lot
It is.
when
You
you're
know,
32 years old or 28, whatever when you're not. He's not. What is he? He's probably 28 years old or something
probably
like that.
about right. Yeah.
And
28, 29. Yeah.
yeah, and so a $500,000 is a $500,000.
Right.
Like
Right.
if you asked me to drive to your house for $500,000, I would.
Right. Right. You're talking about somebody who's making $10.5 million or 10 million, that's not that big of a difference. But when you're talking about $1.5 million or $1 million, that's a big difference.
Yeah, yeah. At what point do you not bend over and pick up the $20 bill on the ground?
Right, exactly.
And I gotta say this is I think Captain Munnerlyn's at the state where he's gonna pick up the $20 bill.
And I can't blame him.
Yeah, not at all. And I just don't think we can drop the $20 right now.
Right, I agree.
So
I gotta be the dissenter here. Tony, especially your argument was a little bit playing both ends against the middle. You were talking about how it's a what have you done for me lately league, but on the other hand, you don't know what he's going to do, if he's going to be able to sustain his level of play when he's 32, 33, 34. Well, he's only 25 years old right now.
Is he only 25?
He's only 25.
So he's only been in the league 3 years?
No, he's got it. I feel like he's been on the Panthers for at least 4 years.
Yeah.
But the point is, he's a lot of these things that you're talking about.
He's not going to get taller though.
Exactly.
No, but how many guys are 5'8" and 195 pounds that can cover okay, decently. I mean, he's maybe not a great cover guy, but he's a guy you can go up, punch somebody in the mouth at the line, get them off their timing, and that's how you defeat, let's say, a Drew Brees, because it's a timing offense. The other things, he's young, he's a great worker, and the thing is, the locker room is very underrated. It's a very important thing to go on is how the locker room is, and he's a guy that every team would love to have in the locker room. They may not want to start him necessarily, but he's the guy that you want in your locker room. He's loved by the fans. He's respected by his teammates and the league. He's a good citizen. He's not going to embarrass you. He can do different things. He can sack. He made a few sacks. He had a few picks. He brings a lot to the table, and I think he's as a number 2, number 3 corner. I think there's a place for him on the team.
I think you do make some points. You make some good points. I think number 2 is too high. I think if he's willing to settle for number 3 or 4 corner money, then he's definitely worth it. But if he's looking for number 2 kind of money, he's not worth it to me. I don't see it being the case.
The thing is really when it comes down to it is that he settled for a 1-year, $1 million deal. He settled, and we all you said it, Ken. We know he did. He's tried to, I won't say play the hometown discount. Gettleman told him this. He said, "You're 5'8". We're $16 million over the cap, or whatever it was, or $6 million, something ridiculous. We can't afford. It doesn't matter if the fans like you or not. You're not coming back if we got to pay you a lot, but it's because we can't. Look, Melvin White started like the whole season, and I know it wasn't the whole season, but
a lot of it.
I mean, a lot. He played a lot. And an undrafted free agent, he did that for $500,000. And so when you think about that, is that we didn't start Melvin White just because he was an exceptional talent. We started him because he was big enough to play. He's big, and he was cheap. And Captain Munnerlyn was our number 1 corner this year. Our number 1.
Right.
When it comes to just cornerbacks. And I don't know if we're going to be able to do better than what we did last year. That's what I'm just saying. Even if you add years to it, that's fine. Let's add 3 years to it. Say we'll sign you for 3 years, but nothing's guaranteed. $3 million guaranteed. It's just $1 million a year anyway.
Right. It's the same money you're making now.
So I just don't. I mean, I would hate for us, because we like him so much, because of the situation we are in monetarily, and because of just his limitations as a player, as physically, we don't want to insult him.
Right. I mean, if he can go somewhere else and earn more money, why wouldn't we want to let him do that? I mean, don't get me wrong. I wish he would say, okay, I'll take $1 million and I'll stay.
For 3 years.
Right. If he can go get more money, let him go. Let him earn it. He's been good to us at Carolina. We've been as good as we could to him. But what do they say? All good things must come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there was a little foreshadowing of that with last year, is that we just said, it was kind of like, hey, you're going to make this team, but we're not going to really pay you that much. I mean, it's
Right.
pretty clear last year with, because last year was his year to get the 3 year, like you said, Ken,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't. And I know we were in some tough shape. I hope, we want him to come back because, first of all, if your name is Captain, you got to be cool.
You're awesome. Exactly.
Yeah, it's better than private.
Right. Oh,
uh,
Corporal. He's not Corporal Munnerlyn.
yeah. I mean, Captain
Major
Munnerlyn's cool.
Munnerlyn has a nice ring to it.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah,
Yeah, it
Major
does.
General. But still, okay. How about this? Let's go ahead and decide it because right now I say no, Joey says no, Ken says yes, but let's decide it with this question: Whom, if we were going to pay next year, we had 2 contracts to give. We have $5 million, but we could only give it to one person or something like that. Or who's going to get paid more, Mitchell or Munnerlyn? We have to pay somebody more. Somebody is more important than the other. We have to choose. We don't. It's not that we have to choose who's on the team or not, but we say this: you're $5 million. You're
It's easy.
$2 million.
It's easy.
Who?
Mitchell.
Wow, Mitchell. That kind of worries me because, if it's that easy of a call, then we're clearly going to take that $1.5 million that we would have given to Munnerlyn and make Mitchell happen. Joey, who will command more in free agency, whether it's in Carolina or abroad, Munnerlyn or Mitchell?
Oh, yeah, I think there's clearly it'll be Mitchell commanding more
Wow,
money
wow, this
abroad.
is crazy.
Yeah, I think if we let him, yeah, I think we would. If it comes down to those two, we got to keep Mitchell.
Yeah.
He's just
Okay.
too valuable.
Yeah,
The
Tony,
value.
you kind of. I'm sorry.
No, go
I
ahead,
just
Ken. Go ahead.
so Tony kind of said it. He was the high draft pick, the underachiever. Well, guess what? He's grown into his talent now.
He
He's
has.
gotten some years under his belt. He's gotten the experience. Now he's playing up to the level that Al Davis thought he was going to get in maybe say year 2 when he drafted him. And now he's there, but he's a Panther, and now he's there at that level. But as far as being a Panther, he fits like a glove for that defense. His style of play it just meshes so well.
I agree. I agree. We need, and actually, it even not only fits with it, is we need that. We kind of need that level of intensity in the backfield to carry because people like Charles Johnson, Greg Hardy, Starr, they grind every play. They can't have that kind of, at times they need somebody to pick the second breath up and say, this is the moment. And he kind of does that when he clotheslines you
Right.
going
Great,
across the.
exactly. And I was going to say he's the guy that makes people drop passes.
Yes, he
Yep.
does.
Yep.
Right.
It's his
So,
footsteps that people are
Exactly.
hearing.
That's
all
exactly
right.
right.
Well, Captain Munnerlyn, I hate to say it, but I think we're gonna have to say sayonara.
Sayonara.
You know, we want to say Sanya, but we just don't want to insult you.
Yeah,
Right.
So,
I
Right.
agree.
and I mean, and if he's back next year, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you this: is I will be ecstatic. I'll be happy.
Oh yeah.